Good evening, guys, and happy Sunday to all of your sunshiny faces. So, guys, I woke up real early this morning. My mom actually came and woke me up at 7 o'clock this morning. We didn't need to leave until 9:15, which we didn't actually really need to leave until like 9:45, actually, because we couldn't be there before 10:30. I think it started at 11:30. I don't remember what I said yesterday, but I knew we could only be there like an hour ahead of time. And again, like, my mom wanted to make sure we were leaving early. But like, I looked at the clock right before we wound up leaving today, and it said like 9:38 or something like that, and I was like, aren't we like super late right now? Shouldn't we have left like almost like 30 minutes ago? And she's like, oh no, we'll be good. And we showed up when we got there. We were still like 10 minutes early, I think. And so anyways, so woke up really early this morning, 7 o'clock. But like I said, I actually got up out of bed at 8 o'clock because I've been up really for a really long time. I just took a nap right now. So it is like 1 o'clock right now though. I'm gonna take a shower and go to bed because I'm just so beat. I was watching some Hulu and ended up taking a nap for like an hour, and now I have a little bit of energy. I hope it's enough just to take a shower and then fall asleep because I'm really tired. But yeah, so we ended up going to my cousin's bridal shower this morning. It was like a brunch sort of like thing. So we ended up going. We had all this stuff loaded up in the car last night. My mom was super terrified. She did like all of the like decorations pretty much. She had all this stuff set up for like the gift table stuff and everything like that. Well, not the gift table, like the welcome table, and all the stuff set up for like, she did all of the table arrangements, like centerpieces, like floral sort of arrangement things, and then we did the, what's that called, the photo backdrop thing too. And then she ended up doing a like picture frame sort of thing, like you can take pictures with the bridal shower. So anyways, we ended up, she, you know, made all that stuff, and we had like boxes of other stuff too. She did all these little favors and everything like that too. And so like I said, we ended up having to bring all of that. We had no room. It was just enough room for me and her to sit in the front seat of the car, and then no other room. So, and we had to like put all of the centerpieces flat, like just in the car. So then we're driving, and my mom slams on the brakes, and one of the centerpieces goes just like it wasn't like slammed on the brakes. She just stopped really at a red light, but was coming in like a little, like, you know, had enough time to stop. But we were also on a pretty busy street, and so speed limit's pretty high. So again, she comes into a, you know, like I said, pretty fast stop. And the centerpiece just goes sliding across the back seats and right into like the top of the seat and falls over. And my mom had like, so she made a base of the like centerpiece, and then it was like a vase, and then it had the flowers all in the top, but in the base part it had like potpourri and these little rocks and all this kind of stuff. Well, like I said, when it went flying forward, ended up going, and rocks are all over the back seat of the car. Well, into the front seat, because it rolled all the way through to the front seat of the car, like everything that spilled out of it. So it was like enough force, like I said, to sort of get the stuff to go forward. And what we realized was we had all these boxes in the car. What we should have done was corralled the centerpieces into the middle of the car and then put the boxes around, which was how we ended up then figuring that, and had no other problems driving to the place. Because this happened like a couple minutes into, like, we were maybe like 5 or 10 minutes into the car ride, and it was like a 25 half-hour drive or something like that. So like I said, this was like a handful of minutes into the drive, but we already are down a centerpiece. So like I said, and my mom has been like freaking out about this too. Like, she doesn't want anything to happen to any of this stuff. She spent so much time working on everything, you know, all this stuff. So again, she ends up like getting all of this stuff in the car, and one of them winds up sliding forward and all the stuff's all over the back seat. So we get out at a CVS parking lot, and we wound up having to pick all of this stuff up. I didn't even realize either too. I opened up the door, like the back seat of the passenger side door, and I open it up and one of the other centerpieces is just leaning against the door. So when I open the door up, the rocks all end up falling. So now I'm picking up rocks in the CVS parking lot in my little romper that I was wearing too. And like, luckily I was not in a dress at least. So I was like picking up all these rocks all over the CVS parking lot that just fell out when I opened up the car door. And yeah, it was a little bit of a mess. Actually, it wasn't that big of a deal because none of the flower stuff actually ended up like falling out. And again, all the rocks sort of, we ended up picking up and were able to get back into the, like the base of the centerpiece part. And so, yeah, it ended up turning out too where like none of the centerpieces broke or anything like that. It was just one of them had a lot less rocks. So my mom wanted me to pick rocks from like all the other ones because we couldn't get to some of the spots too in the car to get the little rocks out because they were like underneath the seats and all this kind of stuff too. And again, it wasn't easy because all the seats were all pushed down because we had everything throughout the entire back seat of the car. So, like I said, we ended up, then I just took like some of the random ones out of the other centerpieces and put them in the one that was missing because I got all the ones out of the CVS parking lot back into the thing in there. And then after that, we put all of the centerpieces in the middle and then put the boxes around it. So nothing else ended up going sliding anywhere. And what actually turned out, what ended up turning out was there was actually, my mom I think made 6 centerpieces. We actually only had 5 tables, so we luckily actually didn't even need the last one, but we still put it like on the welcome table, I guess. So yeah, that was the fun and exciting trip over there. Like I said, my mom had been totally stressing out about all this stuff too. She's like, okay, like don't let the dogs in this space, like because she had the photo backdrop and it had like these like sheer sort of like curtain things on there. She's like, don't get near it because like, you know, don't let the dogs near it. I don't want there to be dog hair all over this stuff. Like don't let anything drop, don't let anything happen to any of these, you know. And so, and again, she didn't really have a backup or anything like that if something were to happen to one of them. But luckily we only did need 5, and so if something were to have happened, which luckily didn't, we still only needed, like I said, 1 less. So it was sort of good that I guess just one of them really lost all the little rock potpourri, and it had like moss sort of in it. So anyways, everything ended up then going pretty much swimmingly at the shower. We got everything set up because my mom's also stressing out because she doesn't feel like an hour is enough time to set up all the stuff that she ended up like, you know, making and bringing and everything like that. And honestly, it probably took us only about a half hour, maybe 45 minutes in total to get everything set up. And again, too, we were there like 10 minutes early. But we totally had enough time, and like everything was set up before anybody even showed up. And like there was even people that were there like a little early, you know, and so everything, like I said, all in all ended up working out. My poor mom was just so stressed out, and like I said, as soon as we go to that red light and stop and everything just comes tumbling forward, she's like, oh my gosh, everything just broke, because the rocks all going across the floor sounded like glass shattering, honestly. And so my mom was like, oh my gosh, all the glass centerpieces just broke all over the place. Like I said, they were actually all fine. So it was really crazy. And like I said, though, it sounded like that because it was just like this loud, like, rattle of all these rocks all over the place. Everything ended up, you know, pretty much working out and everything like that. Yeah, it was an early day and then sort of a long day, and then got back home actually, and Jack needed spikes for football and like a mouthpiece and gloves, so we ended up going to Dick's Sporting Goods. And then since we were in that area, I don't know what happened. Something happened to my Xbox One controller, and one of the buttons like isn't totally working on it right now. I needed a new controller, and we went to Target the other day. I think maybe I said this. That was when I came home with the pillow but no controller. And so I don't know, they didn't have like the kind that I was looking for at Target. It was all like the like the corded controllers. They didn't have like any, I don't know, it was really weird. I couldn't find what I wanted at Target. So we found it at GameStop, luckily, since we were in the same area, but I wanted to make sure that I went because I was like, our GameStop that was super close to us just closed down. I couldn't find what I wanted at Target. And again, I'm like, well, since we're going to be in the area, okay, fine. So I am like exhausted too. I hardly ate anything because there wasn't actually a ton of stuff that I could really eat. So like I said, I was like, okay, I'll go with, and then went with to go to pick Jack's stuff out. I was like exhausted, and I've got a headache, and I didn't have that much coffee, and I was tired. So all of this on top of that, we ended up going, and then when I finally got home, I was like, I just want to go to sleep. And so I think I've just pretty much watched TV ever since we got home from that point on. And yeah, now and then, like I said, I ended up taking a short little like couple hour nap, and now I'm like, oh goodness, I need to actually go and take a shower. So yeah, anyways, guys, like I said, it was a fun day, but it was definitely a long day today. And like I said, of course, the stress of like when you're like sort of planning the party and helping with, you know, everything, it's obviously a little bit more stressful. And then too, like I said, being up super early, but like it took me about a half hour to get ready. Honestly, my mom probably could have woken me up at 9 o'clock. I would have still been ready by the time we ended up leaving. And so she woke me up at 7 o'clock, and I was like, there's no way. I was like, my alarm clocks aren't even going off yet. I was like, what am I gonna do for 2.5 hours practically? I was like, it does not take me that long to get ready, because like my hair was all like up in a bun and was wet last night, so like when I take it out, it's normally pretty like, because it's still sometimes damp even, so when I take it out, it's like partially curly, so all I have to do is put some spray in it, and it's like pretty much like curled or sort of like wavy a little bit, at least. And so I was like, I don't need to like curl my hair, I don't need to, I just like need to do my makeup, and decided between two rompers. I couldn't figure out which one I was gonna wear yesterday, so I just tried on the one and was like, I don't really like how that one looks, so I wore the other one. That was the extent of all I needed to really do this morning, so it didn't take me very long at all. But I'm gonna, like I said, now take a shower and get to bed. I will see you guys, and I don't know what the dogs are getting all upset about right now. Somebody like just came down the stairs, and apparently this is news to them, and they're both growling. Anyways, see you guys all in tomorrow's vlog. If you guys did enjoy today's, make sure you guys give a big old thumbs up. If you guys are new, we'd love it if you'd subscribe, and I'll see all of your sunshiny faces tomorrow. So bye guys.